Welcome to 3D Movie Cinema, the only show that's 3 dimensions away from the long dark trail, mixing over with DuckTales and making a cinematic universe of chaos. I'm your host 3D Jake, and today we're looking at The Long Dark Trail. Actually, not even released, coming out in February of 2023. I got an early screener for this movie, and I really wanted to share my thoughts and reviews. This is not like a usual review where I just give you my 100% thoughts and spoilers and all that stuff. I have to be, I can't give you specific spoilers, but I will try to give you as best review as possible without spoiling everything, so that way you can see it. It comes out, I believe, on the 23rd of February. So there you have it. All right, The Long Dark Trail is directed by, I'm reading off the names so that way I don't get it wrong. It is directed by Kevin Ignatius, Nick Pazinskis, and it stars Brady O'Donnell, Carter O'Donnell, Trina Campbell, Michael Thayer, and Alex Hughes. The movie is essentially about two brothers that go and escape their abusive father to go find their mother, who is joined a group that may or may not be a cult. So the movie's kind of like Stand By Me. I've heard a lot of people say it's kind of like Stand By Me meets Midsummer, or Stand By Me meets The Wicker Man. I kind of see it as Stand By Me meets The New Wrong Turn in a way. That's what I see it as. I'm a huge fan of Stand By Me, and of course, Wrong Turn, the original, not the new shit. But I really went into this movie not knowing what I expected, not watch a trailer, got sent the screener, and I was like, you know what? Click play, and you know what? I will say, this movie is well shot. It's well shot. It's well shot, well directed, well scored. Like, there's parts of the score where they're like boom, reminding me of John Carpenter's The Thing, where it's like boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, wow, I like the score. I like the score a lot. Like that to me, I had to listen to it again. I had to replay the scene just so I could listen to it again. The movie mostly is like a lot of walking. Like, there's more walking in this movie than there is in Lord of the Rings. Like, that's how much walking there is in this movie. Like, 80% of the movie is just them walking around, hiking a lot. And so there's a lot of that in this movie. If that's what you're not into, then I recommend not watching this. But the movie, to me, the third act is where the movie really picks up. The first act is them trying, I would say less than 5 minutes is them trying to escape from their abusive father. Most of it is just them just go walking, hiking, and doing that stuff for the majority of the movie. And then the third act is when it's when the chaos, the real of it, the real chaos, and may or may not have a cult involved in the third act, where it gets more entertaining. I will say, the movie, if you're expecting it to be scary, it's not really scary. To me, it's what I loved about the movie is that, it did, I was curious to see where it would go. And there are some things I did like about this movie. It's very low-budgeted indie shot. And I will say, for a low-budget shot, it's well shot. There is drone shots, there is 8 aerial shots of the whole landscaping. I'm like, that to me is what I loved. I love that aspect of it. And I looked up the directors beforehand, and apparently they've done some other indie films before, so it really shows that they, come into their own, because it's well directed and stuff. Now, so far as the acting is not 100% on par with other, but again, it's an independent film, so what are you going to do? I mean, these are newer actors coming into the genre, and I will say, I do think, though, that, for first-time actors or whatever, I think they're really good, for what they're giving on the first time around. Now, I'm sure that they'll grow into being more mainstream, and I will say, the story, is very much, someone said, a lot of people have been saying, Stand By Me. I 100% believe. I would say there was less that stuff happening in this movie than there in Stand By Me. I was waiting. There is one scene that's kind of weird with a brother and the two brothers, and just something happens to where one brother just starts yelling, something happened. I can't really spoil it, but something happens, and then one of the brothers does one of the stupidest things ever, and yells for the person that's chasing after him's name. And I'm like, why the frig would you do that, okay? Imagine if you're watching a Friday the 13th movie, and then you see Jason, and then you run, you think you lost Jason, then you start yelling Jason's name out loud. That's how stupid that scene was. I'm like, that is so stupid. Why would you do that? You're giving away your location so that way they could come and kill you. You stupid idiot. I'm like, that to me irked me a lot. I did though like I did like the like the score was one thing I loved about it, and I liked the aerial shots. The acting I did not. The acting was okay. Like it wasn't great, but it wasn't nothing like I was like, oh, this dog shit. It wasn't like The Room or nothing, you know. And I will say I did think that, you know, the villains of the movie, the real true villains of the movie, they were creepy as hell. Like I did think that the villain really in the third act gets really creepy, especially when you see, like they're in the trailer. So I mean, like that one shot in the trailer is grotesque with the animal carcass. Like, you know, that look at the creepy looking like mantle hanging on the wall. I thought that was creepy as hell. You know, and like, you know, and it is very much like it really much reminded me of the new Wrong Turn in a way. Like when the third act kind of feels like goes from Stand By Me to Wrong Turn in a way. And like I will say, this movie is for a movie that like an independent film, I was not expecting it to get really the score to rock this hard. Like to me, it just felt really Carpenter-esque. I really love that aspect of it, and I really like the, you know, like the, you know, the shots and landscape and the acting. I thought was okay. Like the acting's not nothing to write home about again, but like I do think though that I feel like there should have been more. I really feel like there should have been more, and besides them just hiking, like something happens besides. I mean, they try to do one thing, but I feel like they should have done more than just hiking, because it feels like they're just walking around for 80% of the movie. And like it's like something happens at the beginning, and then they just mostly walking around throughout most of the movie. I didn't care about that, and also I just felt like when we get to the third act, that's the best part of the movie. I wish that could have been more expanded. I mean, they little tea drop it here and there, like where they tease the group at the beginning and in the middle, but really we don't really see that aspect of it until the very third act of the movie, and that kind of irked me. And the movie kind of just resolves itself, and I kind of felt like, okay, this is just okay. I'm like, this just kind of happened to happen, so that kind of irked me too. And so that, you know, those three things that kind of irked me. Like I felt like the acting and like, you know, like the story didn't really resolve itself in the way I was hoping it would. It just kind of resolved itself in its own way. Like, yeah, this happened, let's go. And by the way, just like the ending of the one, I was like, really? Are you serious? Something happens in the third act where I'm just like a character, two characters do something stupid. I'm just like at the end of the movie, and I'm like, really? Are you serious? And I'm just like, okay. And so yeah, the movie. I mean, it's a different type of movie. I mean, and I will say from a filmmaker's perspective, it's really hard to make a movie. And this is a well-made film. This is a fantastic, well-made film. You know, I just wish the story was much stronger than it was. It's well shot. It's, you know, well scored. I've said that before, but I keep saying it's how great the score is on this movie and how great the, you know, the shots are in this movie. The directing is not bad. I just kind of wish the story was stronger. But other than that, I really had a good time with this movie. If I had to give it a grade, I would give it a solid C+. Thank you so much.